I call to order the 18th meeting of the Economic and Social Council at its 2014 session. Good morning, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Before proceeding further, I would like to remind delegations that, as announced in today's journal, this morning the Council will hold two panel discussions. The first thematic discussion on effective governance, policy making and planning for sustainable urbanization will conclude around noon, to be followed by the discussion on imagining the cities of the future, solutions, innovations and partnership for sustainable urbanization.
Looking forward to an interesting discussion this morning. Our panelists again are Her Excellency Ms. Angela Brown-Burke, the Mayor of Kingston, Jamaica, Professor Hassan Radoine, Central Director of Architecture and Urban Planning in the Ministry of Urban and Territorial Planning of Morocco, and Ms. Clara Irazabal Zurita, Director of the Latin Lab and Associate Professor of Urban Planning at Columbia University. To our second speaker now, and that would be Professor Hassan Radoine, who's the Central Director of Architecture and Urban Planning in the Ministry of Urban and Territorial Planning of Morocco. Professor Radoine, you now have the floor.
Distinguished members and guests of the audience, it's the third day, so I know that you're getting tired, but I promise I will get you awake with me. Responding to the topic and the theme of this panel, it's not always easy to encompass all the content for the policy of the whole country within one topic, but I tried my best to compact and synthesize what we're doing in Morocco. The different ways we're tackling the issues of urbanization linked to sustainability. Though I do have my own view on the question of urbanization, and I don't know if it's with or versus sustainability, because when we mention sustainability, automatically we're looking for mechanisms of durability or something that is embedded as metabolism to move on, to create something positive, while urbanization is a negative, not always negative, of course, but it has a negative connotation since the last 100 years with the modern infrastructure and the whole machinery. So now, how can we redress, or how can we actually correct this path of urbanization by including new scenarios of sustainability? Here I would just show you the rapid or the fast urbanization in Morocco. In 1990, the urban population was around 440,000, and in 2012, 18 million. And this urban growth led to a number of major challenges, including social and environmental issues, economic growth with social exclusion, and threat to national resources. This is not just the case of Morocco, but this is a worldwide issue. So now, the first thing that Morocco actually is embarking upon to do is, first of all, political awareness, which is not an easy task to do. So how can we do this political awareness on the importance of developing cities that are economically prosperous, socially sustainable, and environmentally sustainable? So this awareness has helped in developing the strong political will of the Moroccan government, which considers the integration of environmental, social, and economic aspect as one of its major concerns. This preoccupation includes sustainable land planning and development approaches that meet sustainability criteria. And what are the sustainability criteria, since sustainability is becoming a buzzword? I mean, sustainability in all levels, and how we can include all layers of sustainability. And of course, these criteria that are careers of social cohesion and economic inclusion in respect of the environment. The other thing that if we want to talk about investing in sustainability, we need, first of all, to have an expertise in urban planning. I mean, a country that has now memory in urbanizing, how can it reaches sustainability. In the case of Morocco, we don't consider the city that starts from 1900. I mean, Morocco, it's been a country of urban tradition since 7th century and before. And we have a myriad of different cultural cities, from the Portuguese, the Spanish, the French, the Medina, the Middle Eastern influence, etc. So we are talking also about multicultural, layered city, and how can we deal with that. So now, in terms of governance and policy frameworks, the long-term strategy that Morocco actually is applying and is also envisaging, the long-term strategy places importance on the widespread coverage of the national territory by planning documents like. And this is why it's important not to forget that urbanization is not just to urbanize a city through a technical documents, and the mayor mentioned that technocracy sometimes is not showing all the facets. So this is why it's so important to have all the lenses that we need to look at the space, the user, occupier, and all the elements in order to have an integrated approach in a dynamic way, because we have actors that act on the space. So at the national level, we have what we call Schéma National d'Aménagement Territoire, the national scheme for the territorial planning, and the regional level Schéma Régional d'Aménagement Territorial, the regional scheme of territorial planning, and the local level, there are 3 levels. There is the city within its region, SDO, Schéma Directeur d'Aménagement Urbain, and you have the master plan within the city, and then the planning process of the rural area in the surrounding of the cities. What are the specific actions we're taking in Morocco in terms of governance and policy frameworks? First of all, the protection and enhancement of sensitive areas. And you know that speculation, urbanization will always bring in wealth. So something positive or negative, which is land speculation. So therefore, we need to protect, if we want to talk about sustainability, protect the coastal areas, the mountain areas, fragile areas such as valleys, pre-Saharan regions, especially the reservoir of cultural, natural heritage. And of course, preservation of natural resources, improving the quality of the local environment, and social equity in access to employment, housing, etc. And strengthening the social cohesion, one of the dramatic consequences of modern urban planning that is actually creating wealth, but in the same time creating residues, creating leftover. And the leftover now with this fast urbanization in developing countries, there are means, but in poor countries, developing countries, it's not easy to control. So the balance is needed, actually. Therefore, we have specific action areas. The environmental component has been progressively taken into account by the Moroccan government since 1992. Experience of over 20 years of sustainable development has grown through 40 major axes. I will give you just examples. I'm sorry to be a little bit fast. So first of all, always we speak about sustainability and sustainable development, but we need to institutionalize. It's not the top-down scenario. No, I'm not talking about the technocratic top-down, but institutionalize. No action of sustainability cannot be durable without making a framework. So this is why Morocco has developed the National Charter for Environment and Sustainable Development, and the integration of this concern in the Constitution. So this is why the legal aspect is important. Sustainable development, therefore, is a goal. So, and now, in order to enhance the question of sustainability and urbanization, we created a couple of very strong structures that deal with energy, environment, nature, like for instance, Centre National d'Énergie, so the National Center of Energy, or the ADERES, which is the National Agency of Renewable Energies. I will come back to that later on. So the other thing, sometimes His Majesty sees some of the niches that maybe they are neglected, or maybe some some of the strategies that need to be included, and therefore there are royal priority action initiatives that are actually consolidating the whole process. Cities without slums, Les Villes sans bidonville, it's a very successful program and it has given its result. And the second plan, the two red ones, I think the new ones, they are so crucial as far as the sustainable urbanization is concerned. So the Green Morocco plan, and of course the Moroccan solar energy plan that you've heard about it in the media. So the Green Morocco plan, or Le Maroc Vert, since sustainability for us in Morocco is not a luxury, is a need. Because we are a developing country, we don't have oil, and most of our population are working on agriculture. So how this, the strategy of the Green Morocco plan relates to sector, as I said, that contributes 19% national GDP, 15% in agriculture and 4% in agro-industry. This sector employs more than 4 million rural inhabitants and creates more than 100,000 jobs in the field of food. This sector plays a key role in macroeconomic balance of the country. So therefore, the choice to move to this plan of Green Morocco and of course supporting rural population in investing in their own localities, it's very important and actually has 7 main principles. Making agriculture the main driver of growth in the next 10 to 15 years, adopt aggregation as an organizing model of agriculture, ensure the development of Moroccan agriculture as a whole without exception, promotion of private investment in agriculture, adopt a contractual approach to achieving the Green Morocco plan, sustaining the development of Moroccan agriculture, and prepare the revision of the sectorial framework. Is not only the Ministry of Agriculture, and you know this departmentalization of sectors is creating a lot of problems now, and this is why we should look for more interministerial and coordination between different sectors. The Morocco's solar plan is quite ingenious, and I think it's innovative in a country like Morocco. So in 2009, under the presidency of His Majesty King Mohammed VI, this Morocco or Moroccan solar plan is very ambitious project. So it's actually targeting the renewable energy, and since we are a sun or a country with a lot of sun, so the realization of Morocco is around 5 sites. Now they are under implementation, and it's looking actually the completion of this project will reduce energy dependency of Morocco and save fuel. It will protect the environment by limiting emissions of greenhouse gas emissions. It's looking actually for 2,000 million watts in 2020 at the 5 sites already under implementation. And of course, this Moroccan solar plan, the project includes training, technical expertise, research, development, etc. And now there is a national or the Moroccan Agency for Solar Energy. This is how we can institutionalize sustainability elements, etc., and triggers. So now I will just pass on the regulatory frameworks. Of course, every country has its own legal arsenal. And now I will be moving to the thematic, what Morocco is doing in terms of sustainable urbanization and what are the themes of sustainability. So first of all, we have the transportation for sustainable development, energy for sustainable urbanization, education for sustainable urbanization, tourism for sustainable urbanization, heritage conservation and urban conservation for sustainable urbanization, territorial planning for sustainable urbanization. So the first thing that is the transportation, I think we do understand now with the spreading of cities, the more we invest in transportation, the more we fix population in their own localities without having the need to move to big cities in most developing countries are suffering from density, high density population of small megapolises, while you have small villages that are really poor. So, and this is why the speed is very important. And now Rabat, it has its own tramway, and Casablanca as well. And we do understand that sustainable urbanization without including the public transport will actually lead nowhere. So Last word, what I will be here addressing is very important. I think Morocco has quite an interesting expertise in terms of territorial and regional planning. We can't reach sustainable urbanization in cities without having the overall view on the whole territory of the country. You do have some countries where you have 80 million population while you have one city of 3 million. So this is unhealthy. So this is why it's so important to look from the overall view and try to manage the distribution of population and network of cities. Education is very important. Most of universities and schools of engineers, architects in Morocco, they are including laboratories and research on sustainability in all levels. And tourism, you know, I mean, I'm sure you've been in Morocco. Most of you have been in Marrakesh, I think. So now I think there is a vision to 2020. Sometimes as architects, engineers, we talk about carrying capacity of a building or carrying capacity of a site, but I think we should also talk about carrying capacity of a whole country. If we have 2 Medinas and you have all the tourists going there, seeing 2 monuments and Alibaba, so that means the whole country will not benefit and you have all the crowds. So therefore, the Vision 2020 is very innovative in trying to provide different a wide portfolio of different eco-tourisms. So like, for instance, the mountainous villages, the green middle, the country or the middle of the country, the coastal area, the heritage sites, and of course, the natural reservoirs. I will end by this. Yesterday, I was hearing that everyone talking about sustainability in Africa, and I did not hear a single word that in Africa there is a genius loci, there is actually a way or a sense of belonging to a land that creates an innovation over centuries. We always think that sustainability like a recipe to be imported again. So what the problem of Africa, that means we imported recipes that did not work. So how can now stimulate, awaken the genius of people in order to adopt new urbanization to look at the future in a balanced way without having consumerism invading everywhere. And this is why a balance between the global, the national, the regional, and the local is needed. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Radoine, for what was a very interesting presentation, and certainly, I think, gave all of us a much better appreciation of some of the challenges that Morocco has faced during this rapid period of urbanization over the past 22 years that saw you move from 440,000 in urban environments to over 18 million. I think a number of things to highlight from your presentation: the importance of building political awareness on both ensuring that cities are economically prosperous, socially sustainable, and environmentally sustainable, and also the important role that and work that has been done by the various spheres of government in Morocco around the significant governance and policy frameworks, as well as the role that some of the royal priorities played through initiatives such as Cities Without Slums, the Green Morocco Plan, and your Moroccan Solar Energy Plan. I think a question that I'd leave for you to think about, and we can touch on after our final presenter, was that in speaking of the importance of political awareness of all elected representatives on the issues around sustainable development, how can we work to do that better, both at a local authority level, but also through our associations of local governments that exist in each of our countries, as well as in the work that we do through our global association, United Cities and Local Governments, in the context of, for example, the framework here at the United Nations and so on. And perhaps that's something we can touch on a little more later on during the question and answer period.